What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike here. We are in Season 4 of Award Season Reviews, counting down to the 98th Academy Awards with 98 reviews in 98 days. Quick reminder before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything coming your way. We are in our 12th theme week, and it is Annie Week. In honor of the Annie Awards that occurred last weekend, I am looking at the animated films that have been on the awards circuit for the last year. Today, we're halfway through the week. I am looking at Netflix's The Twits. Co-written by the film's director, Phil Johnston, alongside Meg Favreau, the film was released on the streamer in October of 2025. Told through the framing device of a firefly, voiced by Emilia Clarke, she tells a tale from inside Mr. Twit's beard. The film introduces us to Mr. and Mrs. Twit, voiced by Johnny Vegas and Margot Martindale. A grotesque, bitter couple whose only shared passion is their chaotic amusement park, Twitlandia, and perhaps their hatred of one another. When the park gets shut down for safety violations, cue some entertaining sight gags, the Twits retaliate in a bizarre fashion, stealing a truck and causing a scene that will contaminate a primary source. I'll leave it there. Then we shift to Beesha, voiced by Maitreyi Ramakrishnan, a very sharp and determined 12-year-old orphan, and her friend Bubsy, voiced by Ryan Lopez, whose adoption prospects get very messed up as a result of the Twits' actions. Determined to make things right, Beesha traces the chaos back to the Twits and discovers that their cruelty actually goes beyond just destroying the city, but also animal imprisonment. When investigating the now defunct Twitlandia, they meet the Mugglewumps, a family of colorful creatures voiced, apparent, by Natalie Portman in her second movie of the week this week, and Timothy Simmons. They are forced into captivity because they are able to provide power to Twitlandia. Now, as Beesha and Bubsy attempt to expose the Twits for everything they've done, the conflict then escalates into a battle that pulls in the orphanage, the townspeople, and even the entire political structure of the community gets involved. And what follows is a wildly exaggerated showdown involving mayoral elections, public manipulation, elaborate pranks, and shifting alliances. And as the Twits go to seize power and threaten the orphanage directly, Beesha now has to confront the grief over the situation that she's in and the responsibility, she has to this newfound family fighting the Twits. Then everything builds towards a chaotic climax, no shocker there, that will change the lives of everybody involved. Let me start with the good. Visually, this film is very strong, as you will hear when I get to the Annie nominations in a bit. The character design is appropriately grotesque in a way that captures the exaggerated, spirit that we see in Roald Dahl adaptations. I mean, you can see it there in the poster. The texture, the personality in the animation, and the world building, particularly Twitlandia, there's a vibrancy that works. Like, this film looks very good. And the performances help elevate the material a bit. I mean, Margot Martindale does not love her. She leans fully into Mrs. Twit's deplorable nature, and because you recognize her voice, you go with the character. And the same can almost be said if you're familiar with Johnny Vegas's work. The vocal work makes these awful, deplorable characters watchable. That said, at an hour and 40 minutes, an hour and a half, an hour and 40, this film feels very long. The core plot is fairly simple, right? Bad people cause chaos, kids fight back. It's long. And I know 95 minutes is not that long, but this one felt long. Maybe it's because there's so many moving pieces. You have political satire, musical numbers, the emotional orphan drama, the absurdist creature comedy, the civic commentary. Individually, many of these elements are interesting but together it's like it's too crowded of a film. And I almost feel like I'm saying contradictory things because there's so much happening, but not enough happening to really sustain what's going on. Now, there are sparks of cleverness that don't get fully realized, and those looking for closer adaptations of the book may be disappointed. I have to say, the political parody elements aim for satire and timely in a certain way. I just don't think it lands the impact they want. And then you have an artist like David Byrne who wrote original music for this, but they're kind of forgettable. By the end, I personally forgot that I had been watching a musical. And perhaps more frustratingly, there's a framing device. It just didn't push far. Instead, it falls, it's a visually impressive, uneven narrative. Ambitious in reach, thin in the impact. Now let's talk about the box office and the awards. The film was released on Netflix, so no box office information. Critically, one of the lower films I've talked about this season, 50% tomato meter from 24 critical reviews, 44% on the popcorn meter from over 250 audience reviews. Award season-wise, The Twits was nominated for 3 Annie Awards in the feature film categories: Best Character Design, Best Production Design, and Best Voice Acting. In addition to that, those are the things that I liked. There's a nomination for Best Original Song in an Animated Film, Open the Door, for David Byrne and Haley Williams at the Hollywood Music and Media Awards. And that's all the film got recognized for. Where do I land on this one? It wasn't much for me. Honestly, this was a film that I hadn't even initially heard of, and if it wasn't in this running, I don't know if I would have seen it. And unfortunately, I love Roald Dahl film adaptations. I love a good animated film. I looked at the poster, I said, oh, this might be good. I can't even say it's middle ground. This is a 2-star film for me. I appreciate what was attempted. I am a fan of Johnston, the director. This one, you know what? Head over to Netflix, take a watch, drop a comment, let me know if you agree. All right. Thank you all for joining me for episode 80 of Award Season Review Season 4. We only have 18 days left, so stay with me. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, drop your thoughts in the comments. You can follow me everywhere on social platforms, on Letterboxd, and of course, head over to my website, cinephilemike.com, for even more reviews and movie goodies. I'll be back tomorrow with the next review, but until then, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.